Step inside an ordinary Korean apartment, and you start to notice clever little features that most of the world somehow still does without. None of them are luxuries, and none of them are expensive. They are just smart, sensible choices about how a home should actually work, the kind of ideas that feel obvious the second you see them. Here are 12 things in Korean homes that should be standard absolutely everywhere. First, the dish drying cabinet built right above the sink. Instead of a clunky rack cluttering the counter, many Korean kitchens have a cabinet mounted directly over the sink, with an open rack inside where washed dishes drip straight down into the basin and dry out of sight. You wash, you stack them up into the cabinet, and you simply close the door. The counter stays completely clear, the dishes dry themselves, and nothing drips a puddle across the kitchen. It is such an obvious, space-saving idea that once you have lived with one, the standard countertop rack soaking your only stretch of counter feels genuinely primitive. It quietly reclaims the most fought-over surface in the whole kitchen every single day. Second, the steam closet that refreshes clothes without washing. A growing fixture in Korean homes is a tall cabinet that uses steam and gentle motion to lift odors, wrinkles, and dust out of clothes you do not want to fully launder, a coat, a suit, yesterday's jacket. You hang the garment inside, close the door, and it comes out fresh, relaxed, and crisp. It quietly solves the awkward middle ground between clean and dirty, the clothes you have worn once or twice but are not ready to wash and certainly do not want to iron. For coats, knitwear, school uniforms, and anything delicate, it is the kind of thing you never knew you needed until you have it, and then you wonder how you managed without it. Third, fold-away bedding that gives you the room back. In many Korean homes, the bedding is light and low enough to be folded up and tucked away each morning, instantly transforming a bedroom into open, usable floor space for the rest of the day. The room is not held hostage by a giant bed that dominates it around the clock. By night it is a place to sleep. By day it is a place to live, stretch, work, or play. In smaller homes especially, that flexibility is pure genius, quietly doubling the usefulness of every square foot you have. A single room can serve two completely different lives, simply by folding the night away each morning and unrolling it again when it is time to rest. Fourth, built-in wardrobes in every bedroom. Korean apartments typically come with closets built right into the walls, flush and seamless, instead of relying on bulky freestanding furniture that eats up the room and gathers dust on top. Your clothes have a clean, integrated home from the very moment you move in. There is no hunting for a wardrobe that fits, no awkward gap behind it, no heavy box looming in the corner. The storage simply disappears into the architecture, leaving the room feeling larger, calmer, and more finished. It treats storage as part of the house itself, a basic expectation, rather than an afterthought you have to go out, buy, assemble, and somehow find space for later. Fifth, a motion sensor light in the entryway. Step into the sunken front entrance of a Korean home, arms full of groceries, and the light flicks on by itself, then politely switches off again once you have moved inside. You never have to fumble for a switch in the dark with your hands full, and you never leave the entry light burning by accident all day. It is a tiny, almost invisible convenience, but it greets you the instant you arrive and quietly tidies up after you when you leave. That small automatic welcome makes coming home feel just a little smoother every single time, and it is exactly the kind of thoughtful detail that costs almost nothing yet you would genuinely miss the moment it was gone. Sixth, a shoe dryer and sterilizer by the door. Many Korean entryways include a unit that dries and sanitizes shoes, so wet sneakers from a rainy commute or a child's soaked boots come out warm, dry, and fresh by morning. Damp shoes, that small, miserable, lingering problem, simply get solved overnight while you sleep. No more stuffing newspaper into wet shoes and hoping. No more pulling on clammy sneakers in the morning. No more that faint sour smell of footwear that never quite dried out. It is a humble little appliance that quietly erases one of those persistent annoyances most people simply learn to tolerate forever, and it keeps the whole entryway smelling clean in the bargain. Seventh, double-glazed enclosed balconies that buffer the home. Korean apartments often have an enclosed balcony with double-paned windows wrapping the living space, creating a layer of still air that insulates against both temperature and noise. Winter cold and summer heat are softened before they ever reach your rooms, and the racket of the city outside is muffled down to a hush. That quiet buffer zone keeps the home comfortable and peaceful while quietly cutting the energy bills. It is a simple architectural idea, a calm room between you and the weather, and it makes the whole home feel steadier, quieter, and far more pleasant to live in across every season, instead of leaving thin glass as the only thing between you and the elements. 8th, floor heating. You control room by room. The Korean home is built around heat that rises gently from beneath the floor, warming you from the feet up, and modern systems let you set the temperature for each room independently. You heat the spaces you are actually using and leave the rest cool, all while enjoying the deep, even comfort of a genuinely warm floor underfoot. There are no freezing cold spots, no noisy vents blasting dry, dusty air around the room. Just steady, silent warmth radiating up from the ground beneath you, the kind that makes you want to sit right down on the floor. It is widely considered one of the most comfortable ways to heat a home ever devised, and after one winter of warm floors, forced air heating feels like a noisy, uneven compromise. 9th, a single panel by the door that runs the home. Just inside many Korean front doors is a wall panel that controls the heating, the lighting, the gas, the intercom, and the elevator, all from one place. You can shut off the gas and the lights with a single tap as you head out, see exactly who is at the building entrance, and call the elevator up to your floor before you have even stepped out of your unit. The whole home is managed as one coherent system instead of a scattered handful of separate switches and nagging worries. It quietly folds a dozen small daily tasks into one effortless touch, and that question of did I leave something on simply stops haunting you on the way to work. 10th, a water purifier plumbed in for water at any temperature. A huge share of Korean homes have a built-in or rented dispenser that delivers cold, hot, and ice-cold water on demand, instantly, very often serviced regularly, so you never have to maintain it yourself. No kettle to boil and stand over. No ice trays to refill and forget. No heavy bottles to lug home from the store and store somewhere. Clean water at exactly the temperature you want, the moment you want it, simply becomes part of the kitchen. It quietly removes a whole string of tiny daily chores, and once it is there, you genuinely stop thinking about water at all, which is exactly how a basic daily need ought to feel. 11th, the warm, washing toilet seat as the plain standard. In Korea, the heated bidet seat with warm water and gentle drying is not a rare luxury reserved for fancy hotels. It is simply what an ordinary bathroom has. A small control panel handles the seat warmth, the water, and the drying, all within easy reach. It is one of those things that sounds faintly funny until you live with it for a single week, and then every cold, basic toilet seat in the rest of the world quietly starts to feel unfinished and slightly uncivilized. Treating that small, repeated daily comfort as completely ordinary, rather than as some special indulgence, is exactly the point, and it is the kind of upgrade nobody ever willingly gives back. 12th, a dedicated utility balcony for the messy stuff. Most Korean apartments have a separate, practical balcony space just for laundry, storage, and the second fridge, a slightly rougher zone that keeps the damp, the clutter, and the mess neatly out of the main living areas. Wet laundry dries there out of sight. Bulky and seasonal things have a proper home, and the rooms you actually live in stay clean and uncluttered. It quietly answers a need most homes simply ignore. That ordinary life generates mess, and that mess deserves a place of its own rather than spilling across the living room. With one, the living space stays calm and presentable, and everything practical and unglamorous has somewhere sensible to go. Step back and look at all 12, and the pattern is clear. Not one of them is expensive or futuristic. A cabinet over the sink, a warm floor, a balcony that buffers the weather, a seat that is not freezing in winter. Each is just a small, sensible decision about how a home should treat the people living in it. Together, they quietly add up to a home that is calmer, cleaner, warmer, and easier to live in, without any single piece of it feeling like a splurge. None of it requires new technology, only the willingness to ask what would actually make daily life at home a little better. That is the quiet lesson of the Korean home. Comfort is not built from grand gestures or huge budgets, but from a dozen ordinary things, simply thought through and done right.